Hi, Chris here, and today I have this absolute treat of a lock, a rare and unusual Abloy 260. It's a very big, substantial shutter lock. I don't think Abloy make them anymore. To give you an idea of just how big it is, there is a more common 330 for scale. You can see it really is hefty. This one has a profile core, and you can see it's got the warding over on the left side of the keyway. And that means that for tooling, basically to get the pick tip and tensioner, that is the window that you've got to work in. So it is quite awkward for tooling. I bought this keyless, but it's keyed alike with some other locks that were for sale, so I just bought one of those as well to get a key. You can see it working very nicely. Tools wise, I'm going to be using this new homemade pick, which is quite awkward to make. It's made from, this is an ejector pin sleeve with a 4mm bore and a 6mm outside diameter, which I've slowly ground down into that shape to make the tensioner. And then the pick tip, this is from a 10mm roll pin. There's only 3/4 millimeter of space in the keyway for that shaft, so that's really quite thin, about 1 millimeter wide. And of course this sort of half moon shape at the tip, that's also just 3/4 millimeter deep and 0.4mm in that direction, so very restricted access. It was difficult to make, took me ages. And it doesn't work brilliantly, but it does just about work. I'm filming this intro after I've done the pick, so I can tell you that the pick is quite long, so apologies for that if you get bored. That was, though, my first go at picking this lock, so it gets a sort of realistic reflection of what it's like approaching one of these locks with quite limited prior knowledge. I've also I'm not going to do a gut after the pick. It's quite annoying to gut. It's got a really strong detent to stop the shackle being removed, which tends to just crush the shims. So I've actually had to sellotape the shims onto the shackle to get it out, and it's all a bit time consuming and messy. But I will give you a tour of the internals now. And here is the internals of the lock. If you sort of start with the lock body, you can see you've got a sidebar groove down there, tunnel for the shackle, and up there's where the ball bearings sit that hold the shackle in place. There's this little plastic cap. It was on there. I had to pop that out. We've got this quite strong spring for the detent that holds the shackle in place, and it does make it a bit of a pain to gut actually, because it crushes the shim. If you try and put a shim across here, it crushes it in and can't get the shackle out. So I actually had to sellotape the shim onto the shackle to get this open. This is the actuator. It sits behind the core of the lock. You can see the flat on there to let this stack of ball bearings, they'd just be in a line up there, let those drop in. This core is actually common with sort of 4 series Abloy locks of the period, like this 241 or 242. It's the same bits. In terms of the discs, got this profile plate on the front. You can see it's got that sort of knobble of warding just off to the left, and that is a right pain. Most of the discs have got full skates. There is this one here doesn't have any full skates on. It's kind of curious. We've got a few of these with the anti-pick feature in the middle. It doesn't do a lot. There is a master disc there. It's got 2 true gates on it. at the back we've got a steel profile disc. Now, other profiles I've picked have got a steel front disc and a third profile disc somewhere in the middle of the stack. And this doesn't have that. Makes me wonder whether it is perhaps not factory. What's in the core? It's been put together by a locksmith at a later date. Is what the key looks like. You can see that profile to match the profile plates. The other thing that makes me think it's perhaps not factory is it's just got one uncut portion at the back, and I think normally they've got two to cover the profile plate and the last disc in the stack as well. So don't know. If we just take a closer look at the tool, you can see how that matches the profile. If I turn that over, you can see that will just fit through there. Also, just put some light on. There you go, and that tensions that last disc like that. Okay, I think that'll do for the internals. So I'm going to put this back together, stick it in a vise, and see if we can get it picked. So here we are with the lock in the vise. I've actually put it in upside down just to make it a little bit easier to get the tools in. See, there's the key working completely normally. So go in and get picking. This probably be quite slow. Actually, it's quite difficult, and the tooling isn't brilliant, which does make it sort of hard to navigate. A little bit difficult to get good feel in there as well. There we go, at last. Whew. Open.